Why are you saying Dory? Uh, a pleasant good evening to everyone in the class, those with the cameras and those with cameras off. We welcome you. We're just waiting for the others to join us. Just a couple more minutes and then we will start this evening's class. Good evening, Jail. You are on mute. Jail, you're muted.
Good evening, Your Excellency. Good evening, Ambassador Doreen. Good evening, Elizabeth. How are you doing?
We're doing well, thank you. Pleasant good evening. I guess because we haven't had classes for a while, persons are late for a class today. That's interesting. Doreen, that's very unlike the class, Doreen, today.
No, it's because it's closer to Christmas.
Yes.
People are getting prepared and some of them are doing last minute shopping. Tomorrow is going to be Sunday and then the following day is Christmas. So it's the Christmas month.
Yeah, of course. Elizabeth, how soon is it going to be? What time is it now in China, Elizabeth?
1 a.m.
It's now 1 a.m. in China. Okay. Present, good evening, Morris. How are you doing? Morris, you have um, you have a bit of noise in your background, Norris.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on here, so I was just going to listen in.
All right, welcome to the class this evening.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Sade, you're looking quite auspicious this evening.
Thank you.
You're all dressed up for a class as if you've been one of
Yes.
us all the time. We're just gonna give a couple of minutes for others to join us. There's a Christmas shopping and everybody is doing a bit of their Christmas getting together. So we're just gonna give the others a couple of minutes and then we're gonna jump straight into this evening's class for sure. All right, we're going to start this evening's class. To everyone who's here with us, you're very welcome. And the link for, let me just give you the YouTube link so that if you drop out of class or for any reason you lose your connection, this is the link that you can find to watch the class after, which it will be after the class is completed. So that's the YouTube link that's right there. And let me just get it out there. Just put the link out there in our platforms. Let's do this. Okay, Grandmaster has finally reached us. The time is now quarter past our 15-minute grace period, and we are ready to start the class this evening. A pleasant good evening to everyone who has joined us for this evening session. I am Dr. Michael Steele, and welcome to the class of Steele Youth. We want to welcome our COO, Ambassador Doreen Burunji. We want to welcome Grandmaster, who is in Botswana. And we also want to welcome Maurice, Elizabeth, Jail, Dr. Sade, that's in South Africa, Jail in South Africa, and Elizabeth is in China this evening. And the others who are joining us this evening, you are very welcome to this evening's class. Master Doreen, you want to welcome the class this evening? You're free to unmute and to just greet the class.
Um, yes. Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
we can hear you.
Yes. Good evening to you all. Your Excellency, Dr. Michael Steele, Grandmaster, and all the ambassadors in the house, and those that are invitees that have come. We welcome you to the class of Steele, and we expect that we're going to have a great time together. Please stay tuned until the very end. God bless you.
Thank you so very much. We waited patiently for you this evening. Were you in the jungle in a safari this evening, Grandmaster?
No, actually, actually not today. You know, with the holiday season, as it is upon us, as they call it. My other hat I had to put on was security. So there was some security issues that I needed to take care of, and I was running home trying to get back in because I'm saying, oh my God, I'm late. I don't want to hold up progress, but no, I took off my beret so I could look presentable on camera and not embarrass myself. But I'm here, sir, ready to get the show on the road.
Wow, it's very good to have you, of course, as always, this Saturday evening with us. It's Christmas holiday, the Yuletide holiday is upon us, and everybody is preparing their relative things for the Christmas. Those preparing for church, those preparing for the cookouts, the cookups, and all of the other things. And I want to bring greetings from First Lady, who is not with us. She's going to try to pop in the class if she's available. But I just want to bring greetings from her this evening and from all the others who are on their way. Some have already sent in their apologies, but they will see the class on YouTube because it's being recorded live. So again, I want to welcome everybody as we really jump into this evening's session. The choice for this evening session, as you know, we're wrapping up the year, and we just have, I think, one more Saturday before the year ends.
Things to remember on hard days.
We're going to put the things in place for the final Saturday that will be happening. We're waiting for a roof that is out of Ruth is in Ghana, and we're just waiting for Ruth to jump in the class. Ruth is going to play a very important role in this evening's class. Ruth and Elizabeth. And firstly, we want to congratulate Elizabeth on her doctorate. As a matter of fact, I think I should say it the correct way. Congratulations to Dr. Elizabeth, who is in China, and another class of Steele celebration, of course. Dr. Elizabeth, you are welcome. Just as a matter of fact, we are waiting for Ruth. Did you hear Ruth as yet, Dr. Elizabeth?
Good evening, His Excellency, Dr. Michael Steele. Good evening, His Excellency Grandmaster. Good evening, Ambassador Doreen Poronji. All protocol respected. Good evening, Dr. James. It's a privilege to be here. And His Excellency, I think she should be joining soon.
So you're going to jump ahead of her, because what time is it in China right now?
It's 1:30 a.m. now.
1:30 a.m. Okay, that's why you're so sleepy. I know we've detained you and kept and you're coming the hours for your preparation for tomorrow. What's tomorrow going to be like in China for you? And what's Christmas like in China? What's it like?
It's actually working day, His Excellency, because they don't celebrate it. Some years ago, they used to celebrate it, but there is a law that was passed, and it was passed that so they stopped celebrating it. But when you go around the cities, you see decorations, Christmas decorations, and all of that. But Monday is a working day in China.
Oh, the
So,
same in the UK.
but individuals in their homes, according to how they want, they can. But it's actually a working day here in China.
Okay. Well, on the congratulatory side of your doctorate, what was I think the thing we're looking for, and Ruth has joined us. Dr. Ruth, good evening from Dr. Ruth. How are you doing this evening? And
Fine,
she,
thank you. Fine, thank you, Excellency. Good evening. Good
we're not seeing
evening.
a
Good evening.
video.
I'm so sorry, Your Excellencies, that I was so late. I had to sort out the children. That is why. I'm so sorry.
Don't worry.
Forgive me for
If you were in China, interestingly, you were never late while you were in China. You were always first in class, like pretty. So I think you're forgiven this time because we know you're back home from China. Well,
Thank you so
congratulations.
much.
Congratulations to you. And this evening's
Thank you.
class, we just want to, we're going to talk a bit equally, we're discussing a bit about COVID and what did COVID, how things were in COVID period. And Dr. Ruth, you are going to be coming on at that appointed time to share with us.
Okay.
Elizabeth, tell us, how was studying in China for you and all of the other activities that you were involved to get to accomplishing your doctorate? How was it, as a matter of fact, because you guys accomplished your doctorates during the COVID period, to be quite honest. So what was it like for you, Elizabeth? And we'll start with Elizabeth.
All right. Thank you for this opportunity, Class of Steel, and all the leaders. Thank you again. It's a privilege to be here at this time. So, um, it's really been a long journey doing the PhD program. It's really been a long journey. When we came here to China, we never imagined or thought of anything about COVID. But all of a sudden, the COVID came in and it was like a dream, but it was real. Yes, it was like a dream, but it was real. And all of a sudden, we went on a lockdown for a very long time. And it was a change of situations and a lot of things that we had to adapt to it. Firstly, we had to become conversant with the fact that you could not move about anyhow and anywhere because you had to take care of your health. You had to make sure that you were safe. And most at times, like everywhere was closed. It was like there was no life, but actually people were alive in China. People were living in their houses. But when you like went out on the street, maybe to the malls to get something that you really needed, you find out that the street there was no car moving. Like everyone was inside because of the fear that people had at the beginning. Everybody was scared, and all of us were at home. That's one of the things that COVID created. COVID spread up a lot of fear to people. And one of the challenges that we had as concerns or connected to our academics here was the fact that we had to move online. Everything had to be done online, the classes, be it even meeting your supervisor, you could not meet them in person. It was so challenging. And I believe that anybody that has like done masters or gone to a certain level of education understands that it's important that you meet person in person, especially with your supervisor. So that's one of the challenges that we had because people also got sick. Some of them were sick, and at a point you could not easily just meet somebody or have a meeting at any time. So we had to adapt to that life, which was very difficult at the beginning because of the fear and everything. But as time went on, we had to get used to the fact that, okay, this is our reality for now. And then we started having classes online. We started having meetings with our supervisors. another teachers or advisors that we're working with online. And it's not that effective because meeting in person is different like meeting online. So we also had to factor that, which was something that really affected the way our research was going on. It really affected us a lot because it was like on a slow down because of the COVID. It was like on a slowdown. So we also got delayed in many ways because then when we were at the verge of like wrapping up graduation, defense, and everything, then the COVID period was like we're coming out of the COVID period, and then we had to start meeting like physical, and we had been like almost 2 years like in this time. And then for us here in China, we're so much affected because it started here in Wuhan, in China. And there are so many things that were going on. Our families were worried and all of that. But God being good, He kept us in good health. And I think that one of the shocks that we also had was at the time when China decided to cut down the to cut down the lockdown measures about the COVID. So many people got sick in China, and we got sick. It was so bad. We got sick, and because many people were at the fact that okay, if you are taking the vaccine, you will not get sick. But at that time, most people, even the old, so many people like the old, they died the way that time because we were coming out of the lockdown stage. And then that was another shock too, because when you got to the pharmacy at that point, like maybe you needed just something for like pain or headache, you could not find anything because Chinese had purchased all the medication and everything because of the fear that they had. And the government had made them understand that at this stage you had to have enough medication because the hospitals will not be able to lodge or take care of everyone. So you have to take care of yourself at home and all of that. So we were here, Mrs. Gordon, we got sick, but by God's grace, we also got well. And that's how it went on. But then, as I was saying, at the verge of us submitting our work for the defense, then we realized that we had to do a lot because we were not meeting as supervisors. It was just online and it wasn't effective. So it was like a setback. I remember there was a day when I met my supervisor, and she was like, the work you've done so far, it's okay, but it's not enough for you to send it for external review, because for us here, they send our work to about 5 reviewers at 5 different universities to review the thesis you've written, the work you've written, to check if it passes the Ministry of Education level, like if the requirements the Ministry of Education in China here gives, if it passes the level. So then it was like 2 weeks for us to submit the work, and I had to do a lot of changes in my work. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but everything being equal, and I think one of the things that I also took from here to Class of Steele was the fact that His Excellency taught us how to be determined. I remember one of the classes that we had, it was from vision to reality. Yes. I remember His Excellency spoke about our goals, how we needed to identify your perfect vision. And he spoke about being resilient and determined. At that point, I felt like, okay, I was losing it. I really could not make it at that point because my supervisor was asking me, do you think we should send the work out for review, or you think we should wait for the next session? And I was like, we are going to send it. I'll be able to do the changes you have made, and we will be able to send it. And one of the things that, um, excuse me, please excuse me for a moment.
Okay. Go ahead, Ruth. Ruth, you can go ahead and just tell us your side of the story from China, because you and Elizabeth were roommates at some point as well, correct?
Yes, please.
So you go ahead and fill in where she left off. Share your side of the story.
Okay, thank you so much, Your Excellency. Good evening, Dr. Bishop Comfort. Good evening, Grandmaster. Good evening, all the excellencies on the call. Yes, as my sister was saying, during the COVID period, combining the adoption and then the academic work was kind of roller coaster. It was really hectic meeting our supervisors, and one thing that most of the time broke our confidence was the comments from our professors. We really got discouraged at a point in time. During those times, kept preparing our documents for blind review and all that. Okay, I think Elizabeth is back. She can continue. Oh,
Okay.
Thank you very much. Sorry about that. I had an interruption here. Very sorry. Excuse me. So, as she was saying, one of the things that we faced was the communication that was not too good with our supervisors during the COVID time because we could not meet in person. So everything was done online. And most of the times they'll be like, okay, you have to like be done with all the work, then we will go through it. And at that stage, when we sent the work to them, we had the challenge or the setback of so many changes or that needed to be done in the work. And within the time frame that we had, it was very short for us to make up for it. But still, we were able to do the changes, and then we sent the work for the external review. And as I said before, we sent it to five uh, professors in different universities, not from our universities, to really probe the work if it actually reaches the requirements of the Ministry of Education here in China. If it doesn't, and if it comes back with 1C, you have actually failed, even if you have the rest A and Bs. But if it comes back with 1C, you've actually failed. You have to go for another round of review again. That's a requirement for PhD students. And also, we also have to publish in social science journals, at least a paper with a good impact factor. And yes, so those were some of the things that we had to deal with. And for us, the social science students, it's a little bit challenging getting your papers published because it's not like those people in the sciences. So you really have to get rejected so many times, and you have to be determined to keep on sending the paper to different journals, sending. I believe that till today, I'm still like sending my manuscript for publication to different journals. It has really, really not been easy. It has been hectic. But at the moment, I've been able to publish. Now, we were able to publish in other journals. It's easy to publish in other journals, but when it comes to social science journals or cell or nature journals, the requirement is quite high, and your paper needs to be very good to be accepted. And that is a requirement for you to get your degree. If you don't have a paper published in social science here in China, you can't get your degree. So it's my university, it's a requirement. You need to get it. So for me, I can't count the number of times my paper has been rejected from journals, but we keep sending because we are determined that, okay, at the end of the day, this is the goal and we need to achieve it. We need to get it. I also remember His Excellency, Dr. Michael Steele talked about having a right team. I mean, I believe that one of the things doing research is that you need to have a right team. You need to have people that are in the same lane with you, people that are like-minded, people that will encourage you to keep on going. Because if I if you look at the number of rejections you've gotten, you just be like, no, I can't do it again. How can all these journals, you see that my price, and they can even tell you that, okay, the manuscript is good, but it's not within the scope of the journal. So it's really not easy to get one. So um, that is one of the things that is really great to have a great team. I think at the beginning of my course, that is one of the things that I missed, like the first years, but later on, I'm very happy that I was able to catch up with working with people that are like-minded and a great team that can help you. And Mrs. Gordon is part of the people. Yes, yes. It's through her that I got to know about the class of Steele, and it has been a great experience and a great discovery. And also, one of the things that His Excellency always tells us most at times is to add value to yourself. Um, here in China, it's very easy for you to just be so much focused on the research work or the PhD program you're doing and not get to do other things. And one of the things that I also achieved or maybe gained was attending class of Steel, because I've learned a lot from class of Steel. I've really, really learned a lot. And I've got to meet people from different nationalities, people of great personalities, and people that are so endowed and blessed with knowledge and a lot of things that God has blessed them with. So that is it for my experience here. For the cultural side, one of the things that I'll say is that Chinese culture is beautiful and good. They have a lot of things that you can learn and know. And one of the things that His Excellency also told us was to blend into the culture, to not overlook or criticize some of the things that you see in other people's culture. You have to appreciate it and see how you can add it to yourself or add value to yourself and all of that. And one of the things that I also realized was that at a certain point I used to be like, oh, the Chinese language I even learned, because at least I can speak. Yeah, I'm fluent. I can read. I can speak. I used to be like, oh, it's of no use. But recently, I actually noticed that, okay, I don't have to let go of this language. I have to keep on revising, because I believe that every language, as soon as you don't speak, you can easily forget. So the Chinese language is something that I'll keep. I'm even thinking of teaching my my kids, because it's something that I've acquired. I've added value to myself. At least if I get somewhere and they're looking for somebody that can interpret in Chinese, okay, yes, I'm here. I can do that. Yes. So the journey has been enriching. There have been challenges here and there, but we we made it till here. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Stanley.
Congratulations. Congratulations to you, Elizabeth. I listened to your story, and I remember the many times that you were having challenges when you came and we spoke in discussions and stuff, and to see that you have made this journey and you have come to the end of it. As a matter of fact, I think we should let the world know getting a PhD in China is absolutely difficult. It's not as easy as in the West, where you just go do your paperwork and submit it, and then you get, it's not that easy. But we know that when you have accomplished your qualification in such a environment, we know that you are obviously definitely fully accredited and fully capable to face the challenging world that you are going to be facing out here. And the beautiful thing is that in the class of Steele, be assured you're not facing that world alone. We got you. So again, congratulations to you, Elizabeth. And you've always been in class as well, you and Ruth on time. You're the only one whose class is at 1 a.m. but you guys were always in class still, and it was always a pleasure just to have you with us. And I actually look forward to 2024 and the plans that we have for the next generation of Class of Steele youth. Thank you so very much, Elizabeth. Ruth, it's your turn. Tag, Ruth, you are it. Go ahead and give us your story. Ruth has been really close in pioneering. As a matter of fact, she was even trying to get a few of the Chinese to join the Class of Steele. And I think she got one or two to pop in occasionally, but culturally and time frame, she wasn't able to have so many of them with us in the class. But Ruth, it was a pleasure to have you. And again, it's good to know you're back home with your family back in Ghana. So go ahead, Ruth, give us your side of the story for sure.
Thank you so much once again, Your Excellency. And I am really privileged to be part of this class because it has helped me a lot to deal with certain challenges when I got to China. When I got in during those hectic moments during the COVID period. Yeah, my going to China was how do I say it? It was a mystery to me because I had just been put to bed through a cesarean session, and my husband wouldn't wait for me to get healed fully to grab the opportunity. He assured me that I should go and that he would take care of the little baby. So my girl is now 5 years. I left her when she was 3 weeks. Yes, when she was 3 weeks to China to pursue my PhD. Yes. So when I went, initially, I had no one to give me tuition, even on the weather condition, so that I could equip myself with proper clothing. Imagine, I didn't know the weather condition at then. It was 2018 October, and I think they were already in winter. And I had worn my sleeveless straight dress with sandals. When I got to Guangzhou, the feeling wasn't funny at all. It wasn't funny. The weather was a different thing for me, different environment, different language, different people. I was like on a different planet. I said, my goodness, where am I? Yes, weather shock. Thank you. So the weather one thing was a challenge for me. Someone who had just been put to bed. I felt so cold that I was compelled to get to a shop and then get myself some winter coat and then boots before I boarded the next trip to Jeonju. And when I got to Jeonju, I was everything was strange to me because in my mind's eye, I felt whatever happens in Ghana happens everywhere. So I meet Chinese people, I greet, they will never respond. I said, what did I do to this person that he's not responding to my greeting? Cultural shock, you know. So after I went through the registration process, I had some African colleagues to help me out. One guy from Tanzania, he was really good to me. He showed me around, took me to the bank to go through my registration process. Yes. So after that, I met my professor. In fact, the first time I met my professor, I wept. I wept telling her that I had this was it $300 she should top up so that I come back home because I was really not comfortable with the weather condition, the language, the people, the food. Everything was a shock to me. You know, everything was a shock to me. I didn't know what language I should speak for them to understand. But fortunately for me, my professor could speak some level of English. So I flowed with her in a way. Then coming to academics, yes, I started. For me, my year batch, I was the only foreign student during my year time, my year batch, and I was the only student in my class. So since I'm a new student, I have not really started the Chinese language to understand their lecturing, the language, the mode of teaching and all that. My class was organized separately. So my professor will go to her Chinese class, then arrange my class for me. So I had 4 teachers at a go. I alone, 4 teachers. So my class was like a seminar. From time to time, they'll tell me, Ruth, you have a class this week. Then I'll prepare. I go for classes from 9 a.m. Then I'll close around 2, 3 p.m. Yes, and aside that, the assignment here and there, you have to work on time. So we're doing this alongside learning Chinese culture. I remember back here in Ghana, one of my lecturers told me that if you really want to learn, don't go anywhere, but go to China. My experience in China really explained that statement to me. If you really want to learn, go to China. A whole lot of things. If you want to learn, China has a lot of things for you to learn. Their culture, the food, the language, the educational system will teach you a lot. It will teach you a lot. I did a lot of self-tuitions of the language barrier because everything I have to do it myself, find out, research, ask questions because my department was kind of strange to me. Everything I have to ask. How do I get this? What do I have a class? Do I need to do this? So we're just doing that, attending classes normally until COVID came in, and it was a new thing for us to adapt, as Elizabeth said. It was challenging. For me, I had to adjust quickly because I was thinking about family, how I would finish my course on time, get my papers published, submit my work. So it was a whole lot of work on my shoulder for me. And sometimes, challenges from the family also. So I was thinking of all these things. And for the Chinese, for you to graduate fully, you need to fulfill your graduation requirements. One of the requirements was for you to pass your Chinese language. That's a requirement. And then publish in SSCI journal. And that, as Elizabeth said, is not easy to come by. We kept, even though we've published, I have 2 papers published, I still have to get one from SSCI. Yes. And journals also kept rejecting our papers. We kept submitting. Rejection, we kept submitting. And through all, I got in touch with the class of Steele through my aunt. And I joined during the COVID time. I introduced Elizabeth to it, and she also gave in. We started. So class of Steele came in at a point in time when we were dying of boredom as a result of the COVID situation, because we are all locked in. There is no one going out. And as African as we are, we love to socialize a lot. So you being under lockdown, how do you socialize? So our socialization, we really found it in the class of Steele. Regardless of the time, it was 1 a.m. over there for us, but we really joined, we made time for it. Sometimes because of that, we have to sleep early so that we don't get late to the class of Steele. And through it all, I have learned a lot. The class of Steele has really kept me on my toes in so many ways, especially during those times. Dr. Steele sometimes will call. I remember one of the days I wasn't very well. He called and he realized I was sick. Immediately, he asked the class to start praying for me. And that was really, really loving. I cherished that moment so much. I said, oh, wow. Even during the lockdown, some people are feeling so lonely, but I am not. I am not. And that has really helped me. And privately, sometimes he will call to check up. He will encourage me especially, not to give up, even though we are there for a purpose. Yes, so we really went through. For once, sometimes I nearly gave up, but the class of Steele, each time I get to the class, I forget about my giving up. I am always encouraged. Having a beautiful family like this. on the platform, even though we have never met in person before. And then talking about their social life, it is beautiful. Chinese has a very kind of beautiful social life, but quite different from ours. You know, as blacks and foreigners, quite different from ours. And when you're in China as a foreigner, all you got to do is to adapt to the cultural situation. Other than that, you can't fit in there. You can't fit in there. COVID brought a lot of changes. COVID brought a lot of changes to our lives, which we needed to adjust immediately. You don't need one month, 2 weeks. No, you had to adjust, make up your mind that I will have to adjust to this situation. So the situation was a roller coaster in sometimes they will allow us to move about. In no time you hear there is lockdown, you had to adhere to the policy the government brings. And for the testing, we did a lot of testing. We tested like eating food every day. Every morning you have to test. If you don't, there is a QR code on your phone that when you scan and the code turns red, if you don't take care, it is assumed that you have COVID. And as you are there, unawares, you see the police and the health personnel at your door. They will come and pick you up to quarantine you because and we were strictly monitored. We were strictly monitored. For the testing, we're doing it every morning, every day. It was time bound. If you don't do it within that time frame, that day, remember that you will not enter into any shop to buy anything because it is assumed that you have COVID. Yeah, so because you don't want to be seen as a COVID patient, or even though you don't have COVID, whether you like it or not, you have to go through the code, go open your mouth for those health personnel to take your saliva and with a swab every morning. Every morning we were taking the test, and at a point in time, it became normal for all of us. It became normal for all of us. Even sometimes, if they forget who asked, today aren't they doing tests? Just for the fun of it. But in all, we have fought a good fight. For me, it is worth it. It is worth it. Leaving my baby behind, it has been a big challenge for me, but it's one of the greatest decisions that I will never forget, risking my baby's life to pursue a PhD. And for me, it is worth it. And I thank God that through it all, he has seen us through. Our health was intact. Even though we took ill 1 or 2 fluid, but it wasn't COVID. It was just a normal cold that could attack anybody or anyone else. And I remember Dr. Steele taught me some remedy, garlic, lemon, and ginger. As soon as I took that, I mean, my nostril was cleared that night, and I really slept well. And I thank God for this great family that we are still intact. We are still here beautifully. We're seeing each other's face, and God has been faithful to us during those moments. If we have been able to sail through with our degrees and everything, I think God has been faithful to us. And all thanks to God and the class of Steele for at least keeping us intact, keeping us company, giving us that assurance that, hey, we are here for you as a family. Thank you so much.
I also remember even during the class of Steele and in your studies, you also had to prepare as one of the speakers for our youth summit as well.
Yes. I remember that.
Well, we want to thank you, Ruth and Elizabeth, and commend you. This is a wonderful coming to the end of our year to be able to celebrate with you. And again, of course, we wish you guys continued well, and we look forward to the next leg of the journey. Remember, life success is not a destination; it's a journey, and you just keep going and keep working at it. We have Mommy Comfort. Mommy Comfort, I'm going to start in the next 4 minutes to do the class this evening. But greet us this evening. Mommy has been, I will say, Dr. Comfort Adu has been mommy in the class with all of you ladies as well who have been experiencing your challenges. Go ahead, Dr. Comfort. Good evening.
Good evening, Your Excellency, Bishop Dr. Michael Steele, and all the excellencies in the house. It's really a challenge to look back at the days when one have been encountering so many hardships and other things. But just as our recently doctor said, Dr. Ruth said, it's part of life. It's part of life, and the class of Steele has done a lot. I want to take this opportunity to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year in advance. I believe as we journey through the years ahead, things will not be as hard as we have gone through, because there will be a lot of teachings, and then even the past ones that we went through that helped us a lot. That's helped us a lot. As Dr. Ruth was talking about weather challenge, I remember when I learned my old lesson in Denmark some years back, and I was doing our class in that area. And what went on was that, in fact, we have been waiting for that course for a whole lot of years. So when eventually we had opportunity, they had to give us a tailored course, because there will not be much time for us to do the usual 11 months, then learning the Dutch language and then everything. But then they managed to get it about 4 months that we had to go through our lectures in English. We had some lecturers who were able to speak fluently in the English language. So we had it. But what we were told was that there are 3 things in Denmark that you have to hold very high. You don't have to let it go down. That is the weather, women, and also the water. Because as soon as you fetch water, with the next few minutes, when it you see that has settled down, and it is you just can't drink it. And the weather too, as you go out, you think it's okay, and you forget your jacket. All of a sudden, the weather turns round, and you will be shaken all over. And for the women aspect, we were told that a woman can get married 6 o'clock in the morning, and then by 12 noon, she has left the husband. That was so interesting, but that is life, and that is the essence of traveling. You meet a whole lot of challenges, you meet a whole lot of places, their culture, their food, and everything. But then it's a journey. So, Dr. Ru, welcome to the class. You have gone through, you have been successful. Next time when you go to another country, you know the things to do. So I thank God. I always say that one day, Ruth, I will tell you how you came to be in the class of Steele. I'm just letting you go through and see how you were able to know how you came in. It's a secret. So, anyway, so thank you, Your Excellency, for the class of Steele. It's nice being in this class. It's a family, and we are learning day in and day out. Though we are old, but we We can't say that we know everything. So each day is a lesson for me. And I pack my lessons down. And any opportunity that I get, I tell people about life, what to look out for, the things you have to ignore, the things you have to stand up for. I think that is the essence of life. You go through life by learning, and then you make sure you don't fall into the old system again. And I remember yesterday I went for marketing. I took, here we call power pan, somebody who carries load for us. And you can't believe it. I was so tired and worn out. This lady was carrying my things. And then she said she has left her daughter, so she's going to pick her daughter and then come back. And all of a sudden, I realized that I've let her go with the luggage and everything. And I said, hey, how can I trust this woman to go with all my things? Then I said, okay. But it will not be too bad because the person who gave me the lady carried the things, I know her very well. That's where I always buy my yarns and everything. Then I started going back then. By the grace of God, I met her. She was also looking all around for me. So the essence of lessons is to master it so that you don't fall in it again. So my trust in people are being shaped here and there. Thank you, Your Excellency. I think I will end here and then allow others also to make a remark.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Dr. Comfort. Doreen, they're your children, like you, Grandmaster, and Dr. Comfort, myself, that have volunteered every single Saturday of our lives for the couple of years to do this class. And Doreen, you have walked through this as a busy professional with your company, but yet you have been here faithfully as well, Doreen, with regards to Ruth and Elizabeth and seeing them. So give your congratulatory message, our COO, Doreen Burunji, out of Uganda. Go ahead, Doreen. Unmute, Doreen.
Good evening to you once again, Dr. Michael Steele and all the ambassadors in the house, the youth class of Steele, Ruth and Elizabeth. We are so very much proud of you. The journey in China you made is, wow. I have been in China like several times. And first of all, I would like to tell you, I never got enough of China. I have gone there several times on business and on tourism. And my first experience in China was like, these guys would distance themselves from me, and they would not want to communicate, and they would take pictures of me, and I looked so foreign. Yeah, so there was a time I was, I honestly related with whatever you were saying. I can only imagine your time in China during COVID. You didn't speak about the discrimination. It was all over the news that the Africans were discriminated against, that you guys had COVID. So I feel really sorry about the time you spent there during COVID, but like the class of Steele has it said that you have to be resilient. You have to achieve your objective. You continuously remain focused. China can really be lonely. I'm telling you, you can get so lonely and you feel like, oh my God. For them, they were there for studies and they had no choice. The only thing that they had each other. So I thank you for being there for one another, Ruth and Elizabeth, and maybe a few of your African friends, but it can really be really stressful at times until you get used to it and say, okay, I've become immune and this is what I have come here to do and I must achieve it. And that, I guess this is what they actually decided to do, to finish the doctorate. Congratulations to Ruth and Elizabeth. Getting things done in China is very, very hard. But again, if you break through in China, you will never, never look back again. So the thing that they took from China is their education system, their culture. Their culture is so good. What I love about the Chinese culture is the family setup, that they continuously respect families from being a child, a teenager, an adult, and the families are together. So that for me was an A in China. The way they keep themselves healthy, that was also an A. And the way they structured themselves. So I am so proud of you, and I just wish I had more time to spend in China. Their lifestyle is sort of it's human. I mean, it's human. You have your child in China, he may not really be, he will not come back in another state. For example, sorry to say this, but you can send someone to the West and the person comes back, maybe a drug addict. But in China, you either fail to achieve your education because you're lazy, but if you went there to actually get what you went there for, you'll get it.
Yes.
So I am, Class of Steele, we are proud of you guys. China, for me, is my second favorite destination of choice that I would love to go and live there. I never have enough of it. I can tell you that I have been to Beijing, I have been to Shanghai, I have been to Guangzhou, to Shenzhen, to Hong Kong, and I've experienced everything. Every time I go to China, I chop off a few kgs. My body weight is reduced without no exercise. Yeah, but just the food. Their food is very good. Then, of course, I have walked several times on the Great Wall, the Chinese Great Wall. Once you walk that Great Wall, you can't do any activity after that. You have to wait a few days for your body to relax, and then a few days, like 2 or 3 days, because the whole body is worked out. So they really have they have great things in China. China is is the second world. So I didn't learn the Chinese language, but I have so many friends who are Chinese and business partners. And we've had, I think I have 2 decades of friendship with them. Once they enter business with you, they are real in it with you. Yeah. It's not easy to find a Chinese who will do business with an African. But once you get one, the hope, everything about China will be open to you. So we have Dr. Michael Steele, we have the right people. We have people who can translate the Chinese language. They can speak the language. If I have a business associate, now I know who to call. Ruth, please, let's have a meeting. I have this business guy here. Yeah. We can, free, and you're giving me services for free. So let's continue the Class of Steele. Let's continue to spread our wings far beyond our limitations. Let's invite in more people. Let them come and see what the Class of Steele is made of, because we all come from different professions and experiences and faith, and we want to continuously learn from each other. So with that being said, Your Excellency, Dr. Michael Steele, and your beautiful wife, thank you for me, Doreen. I am what I am because I came to the class of Steele today, I can look at people right straight in the eye without fear or favor, and I express myself, what I want to say and what I don't want to do, and I am confident it's because of this class of Steele. To be honest with you, this is what I told Dr. Michael Steele. This class of Steele changed a lot of my presentation. Dr. Michael Steele pushed me to those limits where I was afraid of moving into. And every time I would come to the class, my heart was pumping, boo, 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 boo. But I'm like, no, I was resilient, like in China. I'm trying to learn Chinese language in English. So, Doctor, I don't know how to thank you, but thank you very much for bringing the best out of me from the class of Steele. Thank you for seeing that I needed this. And you said, okay, Doreen, this is what, I don't know, but you knew what exactly I needed for me to be able to move on, yeah, in my next life, this life that I live now, whereby I have no support, no hand, and I have this big company that is on my shoulders, and I have to look for finances for this company to revamp the company with no help, meaning that you have to hold meetings with different people, talk to them about your dream and vision, where you are, where you came from, and where you want to go. If it wasn't for this mentorship, I would probably not have managed. But because of that voice that kept on ringing, it was not easy. When people see me today, they can say, oh, is that Doreen speaking? I said, oh yeah, I am the one. So I don't want to talk a lot, but I want to allow other members, other ambassadors to present and submit what the class of Steele has done. But thank you guys for sharing your experience in China. And for us in the aviation industry, it was public news that we had no employment during that time. There was no tourism, there was no traveling, there was no hotel. That was our life. I mean, there was nothing. But somehow, we managed to survive. My company managed to survive it. Somehow God was on our side. We were able to get, ground services like car hire, because there was a lot of movement on the road, transporting health workers to different districts, taking medications, treatment, patients and stuff. So tour companies came in a lot to support the country during that time of COVID. And of course, they allowed us and gave us social, casual, the services that were required at that time for like drivers. They needed cars, they needed drivers. So some of the tour companies were cleared to move within the country during that time, but not all, but just a few. And my company was still shortlisted. So I didn't feel COVID so much, though, I'm telling you, but I thank God. We really, really thank God. So thank you very much. I will not stop. Let me stop here. Let me just end here and allow other people to submit. Thank you all. Dr. Sadi, Jael, Morris, those of you I have not been meeting, you are in the right place. Don't stop coming for the class of Steele. There's a lot you will learn, you will share, we will learn from you, and together we can build. We can continue to build slowly by slowly. It has 100 years of vision. So Thank you, Dr. Michael Steele. Thank you. Say hi to mommy also.
Definitely. Thank you so very much, Doreen. I'm not going to take up much time on this. Now I'm going to jump straight to Grandmaster. Grandmaster and I, China is special for us because we are Chinese Grandmasters in martial arts, in Tai Chi and in other disciplines in martial arts. So that's my relationship with Grandmaster from the martial arts side. And Grandmaster, your turn to to kind of congratulate them, and I know they have been our babies through this journey in the class. So go ahead, Grandmaster. You're welcome.
Thank you, Your Excellency, and congratulations to both of you sisters, man. It is an amazing accomplishment that you've done. Earlier in my life, I had the opportunity to spend some time in China training martial arts. Needless to say, it was definitely what you mentioned, a culture shock, coming from point A to point B. So I understand your stories wholeheartedly. I was listening to them and was fighting tears and about to tear jerk, but we're being live streamed, so I got to keep up appearances. But congratulations to both of you sisters. It was not an easy task that you did, and I'm just amazed at the resilience of both of you. Sister Ruth, you haven't just had a baby and being thrust into that environment. Sister Elizabeth, you still doing your thing over there, still going through the motions, still not leaving until you get the job done. That's resilience, man. I'm just head over heels and happy for both of you going forward. Definitely, truly assets to not only the class of Steele, but also to your local communities as well, which is more important. Don't forget, one of the objectives and motivations of the class of Steele also is to build the continent, to build Africa. One of the other objectives too, with this whole thing, as we started out, was to bring in information to the continent, because we know that it's been left out of the loop on a lot of things on purpose. So the more people we have like you and everyone else here who's had the opportunity to travel abroad and get the knowledge and bring it back home, again, to build the community that you're in, thereby building a nation and then building the continent from there. We congratulate you on doing that. So this is definitely enrichment for the class of Steele and for everyone else going forward. I salute you and congratulate you very much. We're definitely going to talk, Ambassador Doreen, Elizabeth, and Ruth. We're going to get together and share some stories about China.
Yeah.
Go over there again and test your kung fu. See how good you. Congratulations to you both.
Thank you so very much, Grandmaster. And this evening, let's jump straight into this evening's class and look at some very critical points. So I'm going to be kind of quick this evening and on the surface, because there's a lot of depth that can come out of these classes. But I can assure you that 2024 is going to be very, very active and full of knowledge, information, impact as well. And just so that you all know, we're going to have a meeting. I'm going to set up a meeting with the current team for the class of Steele Youth so that we could determine the way forward for 2024. But be assured that we will be doing the class of Steele in 2024, same time, because I think once you set a time, it is good to stick with the time that everybody is accustomed to it, so that we don't change the variables too much, unfortunately. And based on the different time zones, I know that a lot of you have already become accustomed to this Saturday for the class of Steele Youth. And again, these classes are going to remain free. Is my giving back to society. I don't want, this is not the business side for me personally. This is actually the joy of knowing that while you were going through your difficult times, you had somebody that was there, and it wasn't dependent on if you could afford to or not afford to. It was just dependent on your availability to show up for class. And again, I think you guys showing up is a testament to your success, because once you show up for something that is being sacrificed, it's time, it's energy. It is a big sacrifice on myself and the team that are doing it. Doreen, Grandmaster, we're extremely busy. Dr. Comfort, all of us are busy professionals, but I think that what we're offering back to Africa and the continent and to those who are developing, it is invaluable. And if we're going to build a legacy of 100-year vision, of course, we have to have those who are going to have the heart of the class of Steele. And the heart of the class of Steele is always, how can I add value? How can I add value to you, to your country, to your community, and to the world at large? Well, let's jump into this evening's some more discussions, and we want to talk about artificial intelligence and my today. And I'm not going to do any in-depth PowerPoint presentations or anything like that. I'm going to be straight to the point. We're just going to talk free fall about a lot of things that I've observed. A lot of you know that I'm involved in technology. I've been with computers from the time I was 10 years old. I remember when I was 11 years old receiving my first computer, a Timex Sinclair 1000. And this was in 1983 when I had my first computer. And some of you were not even born then. My wife was my wife was, Grandma, so what are you laughing at? So I was playing with the computers from way back then. And I remember my days as a, you know what, let me not get into my, I don't think they were naughty days. I think hacking back in my day was just fooling around with technology. I don't think it was anything serious. So with that so I came a long way with technology, and I absolutely love technology. As a matter of fact, Joshua, from the time that he was even, before Joshua was even a year old, Joshua is very clued up as well on technology, and he's an absolute genius. 9 years old on computers at this moment and mobile phones. Joshua's an absolute genius. And that's a testament to I constantly teach him new things, but he's also learning because this is his era. The era of artificial intelligence is for the next generation. I commend individuals like Dr. Comfort, who has paid a keen interest in getting to know the technology. I see Dr. Comfort sat there and her phone is working. It's not giving her any trouble. She's not cutting out as much. But in the first times of the class of Steele, it was challenging. But technology is with us. Now, this thing about artificial intelligence is very, very critical for us to understand. And I'm going to summarize it this way. Very soon, you and I, and those who are around at that time, very soon, we're just going to be the computers walking around. And what do I mean by that? We're going to be the ones that are just going to be walking with the technology in us. It's already in us to some degree, but that process is being tweaked, is being manipulated, is being worked on, and that's where it's heading. It's headed to have no longer will the technology be with us, but the technology will be in us. And equally, we will become one with the technology. You become one with your car. You become one with your house. You become one with everything that is around you. Now, it might seem grandeur, it might seem far-fetched, but I want to assure you that if you look at countries like Japan and you start to study artificial intelligence, it would be very good for you who are in third world countries to do that, because equally, in as much as I say third world countries, Some of the third world countries are far more advanced than the West in some instances as well. So I don't want you to think that technology is in one place and it's not in the next, or it's in this area and it's not. That's not true. Africa is as advanced or equally more advanced than many parts of the globe in the technology that we're faced with. As a matter of fact, with the cryptocurrencies and some of the different artificial intelligence, you should look at Nigeria as well for a lot of developments that are coming out of Nigeria. India, of course, is one of the regions that you should look at. Russia, unfortunately, we have to mention, but Russia is also one of the key countries with regards to artificial intelligence that is very high profile. The Middle East, Dubai, oh my goodness, I was in Dubai. We were in Dubai, and the technology that is there is phenomenal. Then you also have Israel. Israel, in light of the technology in aeronautics, etc. So what am I trying to say? Artificial intelligence and technology advancements are nothing new. This is what I want to say. It's nothing new. How many of you, if you go back and you hear about R2D2 and Buck Rogers back in those days, we were watching that when we were in primary school. So the things that we're seeing now, what I want to bring to our minds is that these things are just becoming now commercialized. That's all they are. But they have been implemented, they have been used for decades. So go ahead, Grandmaster. I see your hand there waving at me. Go ahead.
Yeah, not to cut you off, but one of the things to help further hit home with artificial intelligence, one of the basic ones that started out, if your phone, on a lot of phones, you have the thumb recognition that you can lock the phone and unlock the phone with your thumbprint. It's on some iPhones, it's on Samsung phones. With that is some of the base artificial intelligence that's being used. Another one is, you see it, I know, on a lot of sci-fi movies, but mostly in the security field. Your Excellency, you can vouch for this one, is the retinal scan identification that's being used, everything from banks to homes. You can even now have security system installed that does retinal verification. There's another base AI is voice recognition. Your phone, some phones can do that. Again, so those are some of the precursors to a lot of this other artificial intelligence that we've been using.
Definitely. And what I want to say in this aspect, am I truly ready for 2024 and beyond? That's the question. Am I ready? How do you get ready? For sure, those in the class will still have a level of readiness because you are being taught, you are being prepared, you understand immigration. We did immigration and travel. A lot of artificial intelligence has to be used in travel now because people are being scanned much quicker, much faster when you go through the airport. One of the key reasons for the long walk, some of you might experience these long walks, and the genuine reason for the long walks is because they're scanning you and they need to separate you, and you walk in these little corridors where there are these cameras looking in your face. Every single one of those cameras they're actually recording you, getting your face recognition, because that's equally what is inside of your passports. So all of the dynamics that are in your passport, they are actually in the system, the immigrational system. And while you're passing through, they're just scanning you and looking at you to make sure you're who is arriving, because they already have the inventory of who's arriving, etc., from the time you book your ticket. So all of this technology is happening. If you walk through cities, for example, cities are going to be a lot safer. The reason is because the technology is there. I'm going to make sure that every single person in the class will see you have a passport. You have to have a passport, as a matter of fact. I've told all of you, make sure you secure a passport. Make sure. If anything that you have In this era going forward, you have it's a passport. Driver's license, it's okay, it's not necessary, but I want to make sure that you have a passport that you could cross international borders. But not just you could cross international borders, you could engage a lot of stuff as a result of that one passport because the amount of intelligence that is in the processing of your passport is going to be useful for you. That's one way you could guarantee be ready for 2024 and beyond. That's just one of them. Of course, we have the nanoparticles. I'm not going to go into the discussions of the nanoparticles, ethical or unethical. I wouldn't get into those discussions, but there are discussions that I want you to start researching and looking at because all of this testing and all of this probing and trying to figure out how to do it is because, as you see, we're going into a cashless society. And I think one of the things that international bodies are looking at to reduce crime is if you don't have money on you, nobody's going to rob you for your money. You get what I mean? So they took away the cash and gave you a piece of plastic. So that was one of those things to look at, making it a little bit safer. So you now have a piece of plastic. Now people are stealing the plastic and they're hacking the plastic. So what are they trying to do? They're trying to get the technology in you so that, well, they will have to take you, unfortunately. But the dynamics of advancement in artificial intelligence is to create an environment, quote unquote, where they're trying to make the world a safer place. That's what they're trying. And please don't quote me on saying anything. I'm not giving any facts or points or whys or ethics or non-ethics. I'm just stating some facts for us to consider to be ready for 2024 and understand the dynamics that we're faced with. Grandmaster, go ahead.
Yes, sir. While you were mentioning that, one of the things that we faced on the continent, and this is probably something worldwide too, a lot of the cards now with artificial intelligence, you can go to the POS, the point of sales, and just tap it, and it automatically goes through without you having to put in a PIN code, which from a security standpoint is not good. You have to be able to make, because if your card is stolen, for example, or you misplace it or you lose it and you're not aware of it immediately, if it's found, anybody can use it at a point of sale and it automatically taps and goes through. So one thing we have to remember is whatever financial institution you are currently banking with, please make sure that you approach the customer service people at that financial institution and insist that the card that you have issued from them, you must have a PIN number to put into a point of sales other than just taking your card and tapping it, tapping it on there. Because with the right technology that you can even purchase off eBay and off Amazon, with the right technology in the right people's hands, I can sit outside in my vehicle and tap into everything that's going on in the shops, everything that's going on.
Grandmaster, Grandmaster, you're starting to meddle. Stop meddling. Grandmaster, stop.
I just want us to be aware, sir. Let me shut up.
We're going to have in 2024, we're going to have those classes where you're going to have time to meddle with the mobile phone. For example, the technology that is out there is so safe and secure once you kind of get all the dynamics, and we will have all of those with regards to banking because no transaction goes through unless my phone confirms it in some dynamics. The phone has to confirm because I will get a message to my phone and it's connected. So once you're technologically advanced, advanced and au fait, you will have these bypass. Grandmaster, go ahead. You notice that Grandmaster is a technology guy and security guy, so this side of him is coming out. So go ahead with the security, Grandmaster.
Cybersecurity portion of it. And I agree with you wholeheartedly, Ambassador, but not every country and every banking institution is set up like that, as technologically advanced. Some are more advanced than that. Some have current protection in place for its account holders. But not everyone is set up like that. The only thing I want to hit home with is make sure that your financial institution is able to at least give you a PIN number. Even if you point of sale, you swipe in your card and you get the transaction on your phone as it does now, still err on the side of caution. Make sure you get a PIN number to put in and you just don't tap and it goes through. That's all I'm saying. I'll meddle in 2024.
All right, so we're jumping forward, and I'm only doing this because of time today, and we got quite a bit that we want to cover. Grandmaster, please don't hide yourself. Don't hide from me. Make me nervous. So basically,
yeah, I was drinking water, sir. I'm sorry.
So basically, drinking water is allowed. You're fine. You're fine. I wish I had First Lady to bring me my glass of water, but I'm all alone today. So it's important that you become aware. Do a Google on artificial intelligence and start to look into it. Don't be like a lot of individuals are looking at, why do I want this? Why am I interested in this? This I don't care. I'm not interested. Please don't be that way as a student of life. Life is and dynamics are ever changing. And in the Council of Steele, we want to be in an environment where we prepare you to understand the dynamics so that when you brought up at the tills, when you brought up at the port of entries, when you brought up at whatever you're doing, visas, wherever, you are equipped and you have the right relevant information that you will be successful. As Grandmaster mentioned about the retina scan, for example, it's been around for a while. Artificial intelligence and the technologies that are being commercialized at this moment have been around for quite a long time, but they were not commercialized. They were more in the government institutions and the upper level corporations that were using these technologies to automate processes. That's why they're so successful, because of the ability to duplicate things at a phenomenal rate. So your company is going to need to be in an environment where you look at automation. Doreen, in light of what you're doing as well, you're going to want to be looking at automation for bookings, automation for recording of information. Automation is going to be one of the critical elements of the next generation to come. It's currently one of them, but if you want to keep up, you're going to need to be focused on that dynamic. Equally, for example, the world is increasing significantly. We're over 7 billion people now. So when you have social media, for example, you're not going to be able to sit down and respond to one message. Oh, thank you for the message. Thank you. If you sit down and that process is not automated, you're going to be having, persons are now having 1 million, 2 million, 3 million followers. So you're not going to be able to respond. So automation and understanding in artificial technology is critical, especially for those who are looking at a farther reach than just your local environment. For example, I'm going to give you guys a key. For those of you who are looking at this era in light of artificial intelligence, a lot of jobs are going to go. Of course, they're already gone, but a lot more are going to go. I want to challenge you in the Class of Steele to do something. I'm going to give you some homework, and we're going to discuss it maybe next year at some time. But I want you to do me a favor, and I want you to go and Google a car factory, a car manufacturing factory, where cars roll off of the production line every 8 minutes or 7 minutes, a brand new car. I want you to go and watch a video documentary on that. Why am I asking you to watch a documentary on it? A lot of you were seeing Tesla rolling off 1 million cars in like nothing. I really want you to have a sense of the understanding of your growth potential in 2024 and beyond. I really want you to have a sense of the power that artificial intelligence and technology is putting at your hands. And please don't look and say, oh, I'm too small, I'm not a Tesla, I'm not a, no. Artificial intelligence is for every single aspect of your business, of your current existence, of what you're doing. And if you utilize the technology well, you will, of course, be one of the individuals who will be extremely successful. Of course, as I mentioned, I'm not going to be going into the ethics or the non-ethics of technology. That's not my purpose in this class. My purpose in this class is to make you aware it is available, it is there, it is useful, and it will cause you to have exponential growth in 2024 and beyond. Go ahead, Grandmaster.
Yes, sir. Before you close, Your Excellency, can you touch on topic number 2? I think is really, really important. Is what did COVID and artificial intelligence have in common? Can you shed some light on that for us, please, sir?
I'm going to shed light on all of the topics. That's why I'm trying to go so quickly. All of the topics this evening. So number 2, what did COVID and artificial intelligence have in common? In light of the reason why it is really special for us to have Ambassador Ruth and Elizabeth in class today is because of specifically that particular point that I wanted to highlight. I wanted to highlight that point because the technology and the advancement in technology based on COVID is critical. It's very critical because you are going to become the technology. And COVID is critical in that aspect. Why is it critical? Because during the times of COVID, there's been a lot of testing and currently are a lot of testings with nanoparticles. And I know, Grandmaster, I said I don't want to go into too much details about that because I don't want to discuss the ethics or the lack thereof. I don't want to go into those dynamics. So, Grandmaster, wipe that smug smirk off your face. We're not going into that side of the discussion today. But a lot of you, like me, if you traveled during COVID, you would have had your nasal passages violated continuously. And of course, they're experimenting with the nanoparticles. I'm not going to spell out much again. I'm going to keep saying that because I want you to do some homework and some research to understand that no longer are you going to be a person, but you are being pushed to becoming a product of a company. And whichever of the company that I should use the term, whichever of the company that you yield to or you follow or you take their treatment, you will be a product of. That's another subject at a very deeper level, but I want you to be very mindful that we are heading towards a place where we're becoming products and we're going to work seamlessly with technology. And that's for our children and their generation to deal with. Some of us might be, this might happen in our time, but for sure it's happening very now as we speak. It's already being worked out, it's already done, but others are just catching up on this side of the sphere. And then equally, because of monitoring, what they're looking at is how can we monitor so many people in a short space of time very quickly? Cities are becoming overpopulated. How could you monitor cities that are overpopulated? And the only way to do that is to have some level of connectivity to you and the artificial technology that you will pop up like that. And that's the critical aspect of the advancement in technology that we're currently faced with. So those are some critical things. All of the testings and everything that is happening is based on getting to monitor us as human beings, keep us safe, get to us quickly in the time of an emergency, and also be able to analyze quickly what's wrong with us and our minds and our bodies. That's what the known brains and the known scientists and the minds of this era are looking at. And there are those who will oppose to this violation, and there are those who would say it's useful. It's kind of like, for me, all of the cameras in London and all of the cameras in my building and the cameras that are outside, for me personally, I don't feel violated, I feel safe. But there are those persons who would feel threatened. Their privacy is being violated. And every person is going to have a different opinion on technology. And I don't want you to jump on the rhetoric based on persons' speech. Those who might be the hardest pressed and hating of technology, and those who are opposed to these stringent measures of protection, are a lot of times the ones that are in dealings that they will be caught out quickly. If you are going to live an ethical life, and you're going to live a life in integrity, and you do not have any opposition to being watched and people looking after you to make sure you're safe, this is going to be a smooth sail for you, like me. But if you're a person that is, you do the occasional, or you want to hide something, you will have problems during this period. Let me jump on. Is the current educational system useful or useless? The current educational system, in my opinion, is useless. I said it without blinking. I said it without stammering. And there's a reason why I said it at this level. For too long, we've observed that a lot of the persons globally who are advancing financially are those who are skilled individuals in this dispensation, are those who are really advancing. Of course, those with PhDs and those with doctorates and those with higher education, of course, there is a place for you. Of course, there is. But equally, it is like anything else, it's just a discipline and a skill set that is being learned. I think English and math are definitely requirements beyond measure, but all other things are learned or are teachable. You're able to gather skills. And this technology and era is going to be one where you're going to be needing skills. And a lot of the skills that are going to be needed are going to be those that are going to be working in sync with artificial intelligence, unfortunately, and technology. Repairing, fixing, troubleshooting, all of these skill sets are going to be really critical in this time. Partnering with companies like Tesla and companies that are involved in electric vehicles, or companies that are involved in artificial intelligence, those companies that are building robots, robotics, all of these technologies, security technologies, those technologies, I would recommend getting apprenticeships in understanding how they work, how to fix them, how to manipulate and troubleshoot what are the errors, because these are some of the jobs that are going to be more needed in this era that is coming up currently. I personally believe that. So education that we are receiving still have its relevance. It still have its relevance. But so many things are going to be automated and voice controlled. My son, I'm proud of Joshua. He's 9 years old, and Joshua asks Alexa, he asks Google, he asks every single thing what to do, how to do. If he wants to know things, he asks the question. I remember my son was telling me about a binary planets. He does a lot of studying astrology and space and everything. He knows more about space and astrology and robots than I do, genuinely, and I'll be very honest, because it's a keen interest he has. But when he was telling me about binary planets, how have you ever heard about binary planets? As a matter of fact, I will leave that with you. And it will be very interesting to find out what are binary planets. My goodness. So then we're looking at what or whose program am I following? This is critical. What or whose program are you following in 2024? And what do I mean by what or whose program? Are you for technology or are you against it? This is important. Are you for or against technology? Because that's what's going to divide us. If you're for technology, it's going to be a little bit easier to embrace all the advancements in digital currency, the advancements in security, the advancement in travel logistics. My name is already down to drive one of those cars in Texas, you know, the automated vehicles that they have. My name is already down when they come out so that I will be able to test drive them. And I'm excited because I constantly get updates about these autonomous vehicles that are coming out. And currently there are autonomous vehicles that are already, you can get them like Ubers. They're already autonomous vehicles. But interestingly, whose program are you following? Are you for or against technology? Are you following those that are, remember when there was that period where we were bringing out the 5G? I bet you every single person that was fighting against 5G and pulling down 5G towers, now they want to have the latest Samsung 5G phone. how could you have the 5G phone if you don't embrace the technology? Then the newest Samsung phone is no use to you if it's just the 5G technology only, because anything else that embraces a lesser technology, it wouldn't work. A lot of your phones are becoming obsolete. 2G and 3G phones are becoming obsolete. Why? Because they're advancing technology. And as a result of advancing technology, you're going to have to keep upgrading. You're just going with the time. Go ahead, Grandmaster.
Remind us again, Your Excellency, please, on the world scale, how often does global technology change? Do you understand? How often does global technology change in terms of new access, new technologies being put into the market? I think there was a time period where, like phone upgrades, you just mentioned the fact that a phone that you had maybe 2 or 3 years ago will not work today because the technology, I mean, look at how far Apple has advanced, for example. You remember the first Apple iPhones had come out. Now I think it's like Apple 15? So it's from the time it's come out, it had how many different versions or how many different upgrades in the technology for that? Is it a time period like 2 or 3 months, 18 months, 2 years? How does technology change across the world?
I think technology changes based on competition, because as soon as Samsung comes out with its new mobile, iPhone is already up in putting out a new mobile. Technology is competitive. So it's almost like every month or every 6 months, you can have technology advance. If you're like me, I'm a Samsung person. I've been using Samsung phones from the as a matter of fact, I'm a creature of habit. I have been using Gillette from the time Gillette was single blade, and then they went to twin blade, and then they went to triple. I've been using Gillette all my life. I don't use Menorah. I don't use nobody else. I just use Gillette. I've been using Samsung phones from beginning. As a matter of fact, I remember I was in Nokia. I had a Nokia brick, but then I stuck to Samsung. I just gravitated to Samsung, and I never left. Right now, we're at the S23, and I'm already Samsungs, just Samsung all along, all through my house. They're just Samsung phones. So technology is constantly upgrading. It doesn't, I don't think there's any one area that you could say every 3 months or every 4 months. Depending on the specific area of technology that you're looking at, you might have specifics. But based on advancement in technology, it's because of competition and competitors that are out there all the time. So it's ever changing, ever changing. As a matter of fact, I would challenge you to know something. 100G is already out long time ago. 100G. And somebody's going to say 100G? But we're only talking about 5G. Well, because I'm in technology, I know that there's in China, the US, and the research centers, they use 100G a long while ago to transfer their data between countries. And there's 100G that is already used long time ago. Why are you saying shh? Grandmaster, why did you say shh?
Because sometimes information like this, I don't want us to scare people, because a lot of people, that earlier thing about COVID and AI, what did it have in common? And I think one of the first things it had in common was both of them scared the crap out of everybody. A lot of people are afraid of the changes in IT, the changes in technology, especially ones with artificial intelligence, because you're not maybe necessarily educated with the new technology, so it becomes a bit challenging to you. And if it becomes challenging to you, now your bank, for instance, has now a different way to onboard or to get the KYC to know your customers. So it's a lot of different things. So I think that's one of the things that it had in common. So if you're telling people, hey, it's already in the 100G, you're correct, and I know it also. But yeah, it's 100G. But don't let it scare you. Don't let it scare you. A lot of times, a lot of this stuff has military applications first and foremost, before it comes out into a retail market. So yeah, from everything from microwave technology to TV remotes to cell phones, all of that has military applications first before they let it out into a retail market. Now I'm going to shut up again, sir.
You're okay, and that's why I think I like the diversity of the class of Steele and what we do, because there are a number of countries. If you want to study technology advancements, I'm going to put a list of countries in the chat for you guys to have a look at. And since Grandmaster has cautioned me, I will just put it inside of the chat for the countries that you should have a look at for technology that are already in 5 and 6G and above as well. But again, the truth of the matter is that a lot of these technologies are in the military, okay, and in the governmental security sectors. But what I want you to be aware of is the same thing with the artificial intelligence. These technologies are already developed and already being used, but they are implemented at commercial levels in drip feeding. They drip feed you the commercial level of these technologies, because the energy and the challenges of having this rolled out on a commercial level is challenging. But nevertheless, somebody just write too much information, still chewing on the info of 30 minutes ago. That's why I do these as videos, so that if they take me home, at least I said it and you could say he was a Nostradamus. I'm preparing to leave my legacy for Grandmaster, Doreen, and those who will take it over for me. So let's go on and let me please let me stay focused. All right. So technologies are critical for you to understand whose program you're on. You have to know that. All right. I don't want to. I personally would not like to see those in the class of Steele bashing technology. I wouldn't like to see that. And here in the UK, you have individuals who go and they break down cell towers. they are crying out against advancement in technology. They're crying out against cameras that are up, that if you're driving in on your mobile phone, it's going to be a problem. Well, I'll explain to you some of the reasons why these things are happening, and bear with me so you kind of grasp it. One of the reasons why they're trying to create an environment where if you are driving your car or your mobile phone, of course it's because of the accidents, yes, but there's a bigger agenda. Remember, we're living in a capitalist world, and a lot of things, in order for them to become obsolete, they have to be knocked hard enough to introduce the new technologies. So if you are driving, remember you are driving a car that does not have a radio. Remember you have these analog radio that is an analog radio that you just turn on back in the day. Your radio is not going to connect to no mobile phone that when the phone rings, it's going to connect to your thing so you can talk with your phone in your car. So if you have an old car back in the day and you're driving it, in order for you to utilize the technology of your phone and communication, you need an upgraded car. So you're not going to keep your car unless you get the newer model. And the newer model is going to have newer dynamics with it. So all of these things are just based on capitalism. You're just looking at it's just a society of making money. That's the reality of the world that we live in, making money on autopilot. So all of these technologies and these fines that you're getting if you're driving too fast, when you have an autonomous car and you're sat in an autonomous car, the autonomous car is programmed with the speed limits. It's not going to get caught up because it missed a tree branch that hide the 20 miles per hour. When you're driving any of these newer vehicles, you're going to find that the vehicles tell you 20 mile zone, please reduce speed. It's going to talk to you. You don't need to answer your phone. Your phone will ring and the car will tell you Michael is calling. Or you can sit on your car and tell your call Grandmaster. So all of these difficulties that you're seeing and these changes, when you see them, don't worry about it. It's just the advancements of technology. It's just pushing you to buy a new car. It's just pushing you to buy a new phone that's going to work with your bank. A lot of banks are starting to use technology and they upgrade, and they're even telling you if you do not upgrade to a better phone, a 5G phone, you can't use your banking app. Why? Because they're commercializing it, so you go and you buy another phone. Why? When you buy a new phone, what are you doing? You're circulating the money in the economy. That's what you're doing. And that's what keeps the country going. That's what keeps your educational system going. That's what keeps all of the things that are happening in your country that the country pays for going. That's where the taxes comes from. So all of these things are important to understand whose side you're on. Whose program are you following? You're going to have the fors and you're going to have the against. You can't be for and against at the same time. You can't, because it's not going to work. All right? So make sure you know whose program you're following. How to mute the media. This is important. I say to a lot of individuals, I did not know, and please don't laugh at me. Please don't laugh at me. Okay, bye, Elizabeth. Elizabeth is sending us her goodbye. Bye, Elizabeth. See you in a couple of days. Have a wonderful Christmas. And of course, I know you will follow up on the rest of the video. For those of you, the time is now 7 o'clock. And if you are inclined to leave the class now as a result of your personal schedule, please do. You're free to leave class. Class is finished in principle based on our timekeeping. But for those who will continue to go through with us, you are able to keep going with us. We are thankful that you're able to join us to continue. The link for those who are going to be leaving us, just 1 second. For those who are going to be, oh no, not that one. Just 1 second with me, please. For those who are going to be leaving us, the class of Steele, you just go to the class of Steele the class of Steele's the Class of Steele YouTube, go to the Class of Steele YouTube site, and you will have this message that is going to be listed for today, the 23rd of December, 2023. And this class will be there for those who are leaving us. But if you want to stay in for the interactive session that's going to come up after, please remain with us as we go forward. So again, let's continue in the class. So basically, how to mute the media. This is important to understand, how to mute the media. In order for you to mute the media, you need to know whose side you are on. I did not know, there was a period when I didn't know that there was pornography on Facebook. I didn't know there was porn on Facebook. I did not know that. I found that out, but and that was only recently. Because here's the thing, what you feed will grow. When I feed on my Facebook profile and my social media profiles, it grows. What I focus on, I get more information about. And that's the reality of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence knows what you're looking for, it knows what you search for, and it finds you. And it makes it easier for you to engage it. So how do you mute the media? You mute the media by ignoring and blocking things. That's the only way you can mute the media. Because you see, the media is on autopilot. Of course, there are those individuals who will individually, personally send you messages or send you things. Of course, you have that in the system and in the environment. But most media now is on autopilot. It's automated. And if you embrace something, for example, if you're going to do a Google search for cars over 100,000, very soon you're going to start seeing cars that are over 100,000. And each time you look at another car, you're building a profile for your media. That profile is being built. Doreen travels a lot with her travel agency, and Doreen would go and Doreen Google certain things, and she looks up those things in her Facebook, she searches those things on her LinkedIn. All of these things are interconnected. The conversations you're having on your WhatsApp profile, all of the things that you share, what happens is it's a collective intelligence that is being built in your personal profile. And while you build on these things, you see more. Recently, over the past couple of weeks, I've been doing a phenomenal amount of study in relation to beyond the ice wall. That's another subject in itself, beyond the ice wall. And as a result of that, my knowledge and my understanding of different dynamics is increasing exponentially. But the reason why it is happening is because as you study more information comes to you. I have developed access to the library in the Vatican, the access to libraries in Washington, D.C. Why? Because these are public accessible things, but the reason why you might not be able to get access to them is because you are not going the right places and engaging and elaborating at a greater capacity so that you could draw these things to you. Are you with me? So as you do searching and researching, your knowledge base is going to grow, but you're also going to mute a lot of things. If I see any of my friends or contacts that they share any pictures with lewd women or anything, immediately I block them. Unfortunately, I'm not interested in if I like you or you like me or whatever. What normally happens is what I do is I start with blocking the posts like these. I block them. And if they persist, and that person is somebody that is really close to me, and I do not want that showing up in my profile, then I block the person, unfortunately. And it no longer shows up on my profile. That's why a lot of my profiles have, right now I have a few hundred people that are waiting to get on my Facebook profiles, and I have about 4 or 5 of them. But it's because I monitor them. I monitor who I engage with. I monitor what I listen to. I monitor who I spend time with. I monitor where I go, why I go there. I monitor me. And if you want to be successful, you have to monitor you. You have to monitor your associates. You have to monitor your colleagues. You have to monitor you. And this is how you mute the media. Because eventually they would realize, wow, I'm sending pornography to him. I'm sending all of these girls and then lose the time for them to add him to the profile. He's not adding them. He's blocking them. He really looks at the profile, he blocks them. He deletes them. He mutes them. We can't get through to him. So I don't see these things. That's how you mute the media. You also mute the media by not talking. How many get what I'm saying? You don't talk. Don't comment. You don't share. You don't like. You just see it, and it's as if you didn't even see it. A lot of you see things and you make bad comments. Ooh, that's horrible. How could he do this? How could she do that? It's none of your business. The minute you communicate on it, you're going to see 100 more people doing the same thing. Sometimes I look at my wife's social media, my wife's Facebook, and I say to my wife, darling, I hate looking at your Facebook sometimes. You're always with these sad stories, all of these people that are going through these emotional things, and I'm looking at it and I'm crying with you. And these emotional things that you look at, darling, the people that you care about, and I don't want those sometimes. So I have to stay in my business mode sometimes. So I have to ignore some things. How many of you are with me? You go to your Facebook and you see some things, you just ignore them. And you just block them. You have to know how to block the media and mute it. If you just ignore it, it will go away. That's the honest truth. It will go away. I don't join a lot of people pull me into these WhatsApp groups. And I go and I see what they're about. And if I see these groups are starting to spam and everything, I exit those groups. How many of you know in the class of Steele we don't spam? Have you noticed that the class of Steele groups we don't spam? A lot of you learned that with time, but we don't spam. We just share relevant information and we just share the things that are necessary to go forward. We celebrate your victories. We celebrate what you do, when you're doing it. We give you encouragement. We love on you. We bless you. We check in on your family to make sure you're okay in simplicity. But we don't bother you with all of these, join this, like that. No, we don't do too much. We don't do any spamming. People's times are precious. People are busy with their schedules. And if you're a member of the class of Steele Youth or any of our class of Steele groups, you're a professional. You want to guard your character. You want to guard what people think about you. Now, of course, there are times when adverse things happen. That's normal. Adverse things happen all the time. It's normal. But you still need to know when to censor, when to mute, and when not to speak. Are you all with me? That's how you control the media. Don't let the media control you. You control the media. Don't go to your Facebook profile and get angry and, oh, Facebook is so horrible. No, my friend, Facebook is wonderful. Listen carefully to me. LinkedIn is wonderful. Social media and interacting with the world is wonderful. Instagram is wonderful. TikTok is amazing. All of these platforms are phenomenal. They were created with good intentions. But how many of you know that things that were created with good intentions have those that would use them for bad reasons? You just have to learn how to censor those reasons, how to mute them, and how to ignore them. And when you go to your Facebook, you're pleased to see your Facebook. Why? Because you built up the algorithm, you built up the communication, you built up what you want to see. And you will see what you put out. You know what they say? What you give is what you get. If you give your voice to stupidity and quarrels and ignorance, you will get a lot of stupidity and quarrels and ignorance to deal with on a daily basis. I want to ask Ruth. I see, Ruth, I want to ask you about your experience and your comment on what I'm sharing from an African perspective, because you guys are precious with your data. And a lot of things that you see and they come down to you. How do you manage your profile, Ruth? How do you find it?
Yeah, thank you so much, Your Excellency. It's amazing to be on social media in the first place. But over here, let me begin from China, because with China, you have your data to yourself throughout the year because of the Wi-Fi. You subscribe for a whole year, depending on your preference. Some you subscribe for 4 months, 6 months, depending on what you want. So we, being students, we needed the data so much that you had to subscribe for a year. Now, when I came home, one of the things that challenged me was how will I get data to follow up things on my platform and all that. That was one of the greatest challenge I thought of, because I was now going to be integrated in the system and then settle down, get stable and all that. So I thought of all of that, and it was a bit of challenge for me. But thank God I have a supportive husband. Even though I have not started work yet, he's still supporting me in that aspect. So when I get the data, I don't use it for unnecessary things that are not so useful to me, because I need to keep some of the data to do a follow-up on my WeChat platform, to communicate with my professor, get to know what is going on in my university, and then get necessary documents that I need from the school. So when I have the data, this is what I use. It's like today, if I have no need for the data, I don't request for it. And immediately I request for it, he doesn't hesitate to also get it for me. So today I had to bundle for weekend offer. That will take me throughout the weekend. It ends Sunday midnight. So all the activities that I need to do, I use it during the weekend. And then during the weekdays too, we have 24-hour package. And that is what sometimes I subscribe to. And because it is hard to come by over here, and I believe everywhere in Africa, when you get the data, you utilize it for useful things. Those, when you get on Facebook, you see some rubbish and everything, excuse me to say that. But as you said, social media was created for positivity, and it is left with you, the individual, to know what you want, to know what you want from the world, to use it wisely. Other than that, you join the rest who are, excuse me to say, messing up on social media, and then you also mess up your life, wasting data without getting any adding up to your value to your life. So for us over here, data is a very essential commodity to us, that when we get it, we don't misuse it at all. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. You said something very interesting that I want to bring you up to speed on as well, Dr. Ruth. And that is, you use WeChat. And I will tell you, in China, there's a specific reason why, for example, WeChat is used, because WeChat does not actually have end-to-end encryption. And the authorities in China, they monitor absolutely every single thing you do. Remember, you shared some videos with us and some content with us pertaining to back in China, that we looked at. And the reason why I didn't share that on our broadcast is because I know that it would infringe on the rights of what is due to be able to come out of China. And you being one of their students and you being in our class, I definitely would not want anything that would incriminate you or cause you problems, to be quite honest with you. That's why I didn't share any of those videos or anything there for personal use only. And that's important with persons who learn to respect international regulations. It's very important as well because you could find problems in your international careers if you are not mindful of how you disrespect or dishonor regulations that are put in place. But again, WeChat is designed in China for those of you who are ethical and doing what is transparent. You wouldn't have any problems using WeChat because you don't have anything that you want to hide, really. Because at the end of the day, the government is going to see it. Now, on the other hand, watch this difference. WhatsApp in the UK and globally, WhatsApp is encrypted. It has very high encryption. But I want to, yeah, I see Grandmaster squeeze his eyebrows. But what I will say to you is locals do not have the ability to infringe on your WhatsApp communication. And I will leave it at that by saying locals. Others have access to it because that's the way that Facebook or Meta got the authority to be able to register in the UK and different regions because they have to give rights to the government when the government calls for information. And every single night at 2 a.m. on the buzzer, how many of you see that? 2 a.m. on the buzzer. Everything that you do while you're sleeping on your WhatsApp is uploaded, saved, and stored to be called upon if necessary when artificial intelligence is ready to fill a profile on you. So those little pics and photos and videos that you thought were so cute that you shared, well, just for the record, those were actually set up at 2 a.m. all the time. And the secret for most of you to know now, why do you have message can disappear at 6 hours and 4 hours and 1 hour and immediate view is exactly for that. Because the government having access to your information, a lot of others rise up against it, or should I use the rose up against it, and that little bit of information there where it says you can have disappearing messages is if within 24 hours you get your messages disappear, when the upload time comes, those messages will not be uploaded because they would have disappeared. So your 2 a.m. upload that goes to the government, they will not have access to your uploads at that time. And you got that information for free. Therein lies disappearing messages and the use. So if you're going to do disappearing messages, set it at 1 minute past 2 a.m. so that every time your messages will disappear within the right 24 hours. 1 minute before 2 a.m. and they will disappear. All right. So with that being said, again, we just want to continue on how to mute the media because it's important to understand it. You need to know how to mute it. How to mute it? Ignore, avoid, don't comment. How to increase it? How to bring it to your awareness and get more information? Like, comment, share. Simple, simple, simple. Like, comment, and share. And that's how your message will go far and wide. And that's how the algorithm will continue to bring things to you that you are promoting. I know that Pretty is taking copious notes because Pretty is a social media person. I see you there smiling, Pretty. And I know that this is very critical for you to understand as well because Pretty has some wonderful pretty pictures all over social media that you can find Pretty. She's very pretty. Pretty, go ahead. Mute yourself.
Everyone, good evening, Your Excellency.
Good evening.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good evening, Your Excellency. Good evening, Grandmaster. Good evening, Bishop Comfort. And good evening to my colleagues, the recent doctors in the house, and Jai. I'm pleased to be with all of you this evening. And seriously learning a lot. Seriously learning a lot. First of all, I want to congratulate the the doctors from China. You guys are really motivated me seriously. And from January, the next month here, I'm starting my master's program. I've been screened already, and we're to start lectures by January. So I'm motivated, really spurred by your testimony. And someday I also want to study in China. So I'm thrilled, really, I'm thrilled. So now coming to the class this evening, I am actually not very strong. So coming to the class this evening, the topic has been so wonderful that I have to get my notebook. So let me take the whole notes, which from time to time I can go back and study. Yeah, coming to social media, mm, I have always watched what I post, mostly on Facebook. I watch the people I follow, the kind of post, people that tag me too. It's not everyone that tags me that I accept their tag. So sometimes I ignore. Yeah. If they're not necessary stuff like educative, I just remove, ignore it. And some of the friend requests, I just delete it because they're not necessary.
I think that's the Nigerian challenge with dropping out. She pretty would have dropped out from there. She that's the okay. Can everybody hear me? You're still hearing me? Okay. Dr. Comfort, you're still hearing me? Dr. Comfort, you're with us? Definitely. Okay. All right. So she just dropped off. I think she would log back. I think would log back and when she's available again. So your social media is important, and this is the last point that I will make. The last point is the decade of success continues, and you all already know that. You have to keep going. You have to keep working at it. You build yourself, you build your profile, and you grow from there. One thing that I will say about growing, consistency creates growth. Write that down. Consistency creates growth. You have to be consistent. You have to stick with it. A lot of persons come to me and says, "How could you get 200 and something videos on YouTube? Over 200 videos we have on YouTube. How did you do that?" Oh my God! It did not happen one day. It happened over a period of time of consistency. And if you're consistent, you're going to have material. And I want to tell you something in 2024, based on artificial intelligence and based on what we're going to be doing in 2024, those 200 videos are going to equate to over 2,000 videos, just those 200 alone, because we're going to be breaking them up in clips, separating points that are really critical, and then we're going to have those points settled there in social media, in TikTok, and in Facebook, and on our different platforms, all of those points. So all of these classes that you've been coming to, all of this knowledge that you've been accumulating has been adding value to your portfolio. All of the comments that you guys have been making, Ambassador Doreen, Dr. Comfort, Grandmaster, all of your comments, we're going to be creating clips and just sharing those as TikToks, and you will have those that people can follow you and see who you are in the class, so see what you do, understand your journey. And that's why the race is not for the swift or the battle the mighty, but those that endure to the end. Ladies and gentlemen, the decade of success continues. I'm His Excellency Dr. Michael Steele. Thank you for listening this evening. The floor is open. Ambassador Doreen, I I will come to you so that if you drop off anytime, we know that we've had your last statements this evening.
Yes, Your Excellency, thank you for the topics tonight. What really spoke to me loud was the embracement of the technology, artificial intelligence. And it's every time learning, everyday learning, everyday improvement. So I choose to embrace technology because my business is surrounded with technology. If I have to do, everything is now on technology. Safari on the net, you can book hotels, tickets, communication, invoice, payments, everything is, I don't need, you don't need to probably even, you don't need to send money to my account. You can send it to my phone and you get a service. Life has been made so easy in the travel business and tourism that I can receive a tune of $5,000 on my phone and I serve a client and then I bank the money later. So technology is something that I personally and my team have to take seriously, that every technology, take time to master it, the program, learn what it requires you to do for your business to remain in a balance. Otherwise, if we decide to sham technology, then you'll not be able to move anywhere. You won't move anywhere. Social media, TikTok. There are some technologies that are probably they're not good for corporations and staff because of the way they use them. For example, TikTok. People use a lot of, TikTok spends a lot of time. You can actually spend a lot of your time on TikTok the whole day and then do nothing with your life. So I made a resolution. During COVID, people were telling me they're on TikTok. I said, I want to embrace that. So one time I said, okay, what is this TikTok? I took interest in it. I found myself on TikTok. It became so addictive. And I saw that there are certain assignments that I was supposed to do, but I kept on pushing them ahead, procrastinating them. I said, no, this TikTok, and it consumes a lot of money, data, of course. I was not posting anything for my life or for my business, but I'm seeing what other people are doing all over the world. And it's so engaging. So I decided myself to block it. I said, I don't want, this one is not good for me. This media, thank you so much, but this is not working for my business. It's for good entertainment, but not for my business. So what am I saying? If you know what you need for your business or for your life, that it can add value on you, then master it. Master that technology. Spend more time on it, and you will see the result. So the topics were very good. For me, I am on this side of technology. That's it. My phone, my laptop, my computer, everything is technology. Thank you, Dr. Michael.
Thank you, Doreen. And a quick important point that you made, and I know Dr. Comfort would have said, a lot of times I ignore a lot of things because I don't go and look and spend time on platforms. When I go to platforms, I go and do. And most people want to know, how do you manage LinkedIn, Facebook? How do you manage it? And this is very important. Remember, we did a class on time management. A lot of times we delete programs because our introduction to them was what would you say? It was too intrusive. It took up too much time. Yes, you like it. Oh my goodness, this TikTok video lead on to that one, lead on TikTok, 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 TikTok. It's kind of like a clock. That's why it's called TikTok. How many of you ever realize that? TikTok goes the clock. TikTok goes the clock. TikTok, tick, and you go from TikTok to sunrise. You know what I mean? And most people find that they have to block TikTok because they don't like that. But here's the thing that I want to challenge you with, Doreen. I want to challenge you with appreciating something about technology again. Technology has its good and it has its bad. Okay? It has its good and it has its negatives. You're the person that choose what you view. That's number one. Number two, you're the person that choose when you view. Number three, you're the person that choose how long you view. And what I say to most individuals in my mentoring, personal mentoring, is this: you don't have to delete TikTok. You just have to discipline yourself when you want to be entertained and choose your entertainment time. For me, social media a lot of times happens very late in the night when I've done everything and I'm out of the way, and I just am ready to sometimes go to bed, and I just want something to bring me down. There are two things that I do to bring me down. I do gaming with my son, Joshua. I play Fortnite and different games with him, sometimes for an hour or hour and a half to bring me down. Sometimes when I'm too busy, too much work, too much, and I just want to let my mind do something that is outside of my remit. And also YouTube videos or TikTok with my wife and Josh sometimes together to spend family time joking and laughing. We use TikTok or those medias for those times to laugh and joke. Or sometimes me and Jeannie would lay down in bed together and go through our Facebook and make, the comments together. That's how we do Facebook and social media. It's actually time we spend together a lot of times. So you need to decide how you utilize the medias and recognize again, all of them are useful, extremely useful. And I don't want to discount the value of these medias because of time wasters. For example, the things that you can do shopping on TikTok as well. And you get things a whole lot cheaper for those of you who are budget conscious. You can do shopping on your TikTok if you're able to do that. And you get things for a whole lot cheaper than you could ever imagine was possible, because China is opening its market now to everybody. The small man now on the street could buy what the large conglomerates are buying at a dime a dozen. Now the small man could do that 2 and 3 himself. So technology and all of these opportunities are opportunities for us to advance. But we just have to know where to go, why to go there, and embrace it for the right purpose. So I challenge you, don't remove yourself from technology or media. What I challenge you to learn how to do: monitor your time, discipline yourself with what you watch, discipline yourself with who you follow, so that when you go there, you will see. And all of these things make it a whole lot easier to not delete the app, but embrace it in spoon doses. Doreen, I hope that has been helpful. And because I know that, Doreen, you run a very successful business to a degree, and social media plays a major part in what you're doing. And I still want to bring you and your team fully into the social media environment, because it will definitely be a huge advantage to you in 2024 and beyond. Your Excellency, any response?
You're talking to me, Doctor?
Yes, Your Excellency, of course.
Yeah, Doctor, for sure. I blocked TikTok and I don't want to go back. That I will not. No. No.
Okay,
No, not TikTok. Facebook, yeah, but TikTok, no.
all right. When we do in 2024, when we do our social media training and the dynamics, the use, we will see what the perspective is like when we get to that stage. But we'll leave it for now at that stage. But it's fine. It is fine. Pretty, go ahead. Finish what you were sharing with us.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So, like I was saying earlier, um, most people don't want to spend their time in classes like this. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. People do not want to spend their time sitting in classes and being mentored like this. They feel like waste of their data and their time. Rather, they prefer to do some other things with their data. So, like, I found that challenge when I was trying to invite some of my friends and colleagues to the class of school. That was when I discovered that people don't like using their data to grow themselves or rebrand themselves as people. So, most times when I'm done with all I have to do for the day, I just relax when I go to YouTube. I watch our programs on the class of school. Sometimes I even you see old programs like 2 years ago. I just watch and like. Sometimes too I share it within my friends, those who care to watch and listen. So those things make me know who I am. Sometimes you find yourself going or maybe walking through another path, and then you call yourself to others. Okay, this is not who I am. This is not what I was taught in the class of skills. I am. It's like I'm deviating from that path. And then when you watch this class that have been there, it makes you come back to what you're supposed to do. Like most times, I just also remember that this thing you're about to do. What if there's any member of class or skill around? Or if you're called, or just like looking back and you're seeing Dr. Steele at your back, is this how do you explain this act or how do so those things put you on check. You know what you're doing and how to do it. So I I really appreciate this evening class. It will go a long way to, make me monitor myself and how I live. Thank you very much, Dr. Steele, and all the excellencies in the house. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Once more, thank you.
Thank you so very much. Uh, I want to Jail in South Africa, she's there. Jail, are you there next to your computer at the moment? And you can share your thoughts on this evening session.
Good evening, Excellency. Good evening, Grandmaster. Pretty nice to see you. Good evening, Bishop Comfort. Yeah, it's a lot to chew on, and so much actually makes sense now. And I would really like to thank you for this class. And now I know why the clever people say if you want to roll with the big dogs, then you get to know all the classified info. And this is it was a absolute eye opener. Such a good class. I've learned such a lot. And at least now I know I can use my disappearing messages if I want to deny something. So it won't get used against me. That was true. But very good. And technology, yes, I'm totally up for it. And especially now that I've met Alexa, being introduced to her. So now it's making me even more exciting to get to know more. And with the upcoming project for next year, I can't do anything else but being digital. And thank you for what I've learned tonight. It was really, really for me, especially the way forward. in my career. It is, oh, it's a wow. And Ambassador Doreen, I would like to say yes, I agree with you to an extent with TikTok. You just want to get away from it, especially if you get the haters and the people following you that you don't like you to be followed. Or but also it's a very good marketing place. And but in South Africa, our colored people, they take it to the extreme. They're making fun out of everything on TikTok. So yeah. But there's good qualities in it. Same with Facebook. So you can use it for your marketing, I would suggest, and just control yourself and time, time, time. It's like you said, when you have time on hand, I always say I don't have time to waste my time. So only when you have time, do it. Thank you very, very much, Grandmaster, for your input as well on the financial institution. I encountered the other day the garage. They asked me, why do you still want to insert your PIN? I said, because of fraudulent activities going around, I deliberately went and changed my way of payment. So thank you for that as well. And pretty, stay pretty on Facebook. If I don't see you before Christmas, everybody have a blessed Christmas, and I will see you for the new year. Oh, yeah, before the year ends. Thank you so, so much.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome, Jay. Thank you so very much for your contribution to the class this evening. Dr. Comfort, before you go, I know you're there in Ghana and you're getting ready to leave us, but go ahead and share your final words with us in the class this evening. Dr. Comfort, I do.
Thank you, Your Excellency, and all the excellencies in the house. It's nice coming on this evening and sharing with us what to expect in 2024. What I would say that the COVID had left us with so much to learn and so much to adopt, especially with the social media. When we were in the house, when we were locked up, we had to find a way of letting our businesses go on, and social media helped us. So we don't have to just throw that away, but we have to look at it, which ones that will be more helpful to us to generate businesses and also move ahead. And also with the media, I think the best way is to, just as you said, you control them, they don't control you. I remember there was a time, those years when we don't have this a lot of this social media, and all that we depend upon is the TV and the rest. There was a program of which the head of the civil service did not want us, the unionists, to be around because we may do more harm than good, because we seem to confront him even in public, but in a nicer way. And he has been always find a way to get in with us. And there was this event that a whole lot was said, and I had to comment. But I behaved as if I was not in the room, because union has taught us that a platform that is not yours, you don't have to stand on it and deliberate. So I just pretended I wasn't around, because I was there in the capacity of my regional director who has gone for a conference. And the TV people turned the camera on me, expecting me to say something. And that was close to it. But at the end of the day, all the heads of the department shared me because I did the right thing. I did not respond. But when we closed, I rather they urged me to respond to him. And I did. I did it in a way that at the end of the day, he got himself in the hot soup. So let's look at, I think, both the social media and then the, and what and how to use it to our benefit, rather than to let it control us and then put us in a corner that will man our image and our businesses. On this note, I will say Merry Christmas again, Happy New Year, and I hope to have a best of it next year, and you also have to hope to have the best of it next year. We shall overcome, and we are victorious. Blessings. Bye.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Comfort, and you have a wonderful Christmas holiday to you and the family as well, and those who are a part of the Class of Steel team that are in the Ghana region and the West African region for sure. Ruth, Grandmaster, you're last. So Ruth, your turn, and then Grandmaster. Ruth, your final words for this evening's classes summary.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, and it's been a wonderful time today for me, and I've learned a lot. Technology, which one are you for? It's a great topic to talk about because the world is evolving. It has evolved actually, and as the world has evolved, we all have to also evolve alongside with it, because as I said before, if we don't change things to move with the current situation or the world system, I don't think we can fit in there. We'll continue to be in that Stone Age life, and life will become stagnant in a way for us. It's a good topic to talk about, and as it's very important, actually, it's very important to be technologically inclined as the world evolves, because everything around us now is technology. When you even go to the restaurant, we have AI waitress and waiters. I don't know whether we have female and male, but you have these machines bringing your food to your table and all that. How do you operate it to get your food? How do you sign in to get your food and all that? Now we have AI. Researchers are using it a lot to help them in their research and all that. If you're not conversant with all these things, how do you cope? How do you make good research? How do you even get the latest news? So it is very important for all of us to be technologically inclined as the world evolves. We need to also evolve alongside with it, regardless of your age and what have you. It is very important because a time will come, the work we used to do manually, now technology, machines are doing it better. So what will you be doing if you don't know how to manipulate these machines? Yeah, so it is very important. And thank you so much for bringing this topic up, because I quite remember when I was in China, one of the things that helped us most was this technology, social media. You know, where we find ourselves, even though there are some registered places that are meant for church service, where I found myself in China, it is strictly prohibited to meet in person or to even go for church. So we resorted to Zoom. Imagine you don't know how to operate Zoom. How do you log in? How do you mute yourself? How do you turn on your camera? Some people log in and with a lot of noise at the background. You the host, you will shout, please mute yourself. Imagine if you don't know how to mute as a host. You don't know how to mute your participants. You'll be shouting, please mute yourself, please mute yourself. It is very necessary to be technologically inclined. And as we are updating ourselves, we are upgrading ourselves in terms of that. We also need to encourage our kids, our children, our younger ones, young siblings, to also take that up. Those who want to have it as a skill, because now, as you said, Dr. Steele, those who are making it are those who have the skills to do things. You don't just have to stick your head in books. No, get something doing. Yeah, so that is very important. And even music now, formerly we used to have drums. Now we have AI drums where you don't need to exert too much energy. Just a touch, and you are playing your drum. You have all the four tunes and everything. So technology is far advancing. And as it advances, we also need to advance in that so that we'll be able to fit in this world. Other than that, everything will be like strange and you start fighting. What is technology? It has come to destroy a whole lot of things. We used to do this way. Things have changed and we also have to change. And I think this class is worth it, having this topic. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much, Ruth, for your contribution, and of course for being a part of this journey with us here in the class of Steele, and also looking at empowering and bettering those that are in the African region and the continent. How can they be more successful? How can they exercise integrity? How can they exercise all the necessary tenets to be successful and leave us a legacy behind? Grandmaster, you're the final word for this evening. And what is your take on this evening's session and your final words and greetings to the class of Steele Youth before the Christmas?
Yes, sir. Tonight's class was amazing. I think the topic was definitely a very relevant one going into 2024 with the advances that's happening. I can pull from just locally here. There's many, but here in Botswana, the goal and the focus is to have a quote unquote smart city where everything is controlled by technology, AI, everything from the street lighting to traffic lightings to facial recognition to QR scan codes to make life a lot easier, which is a good thing. It's bringing us to the forefront of where we need to be in terms of technology. So for the country, I applaud it definitely in moving in the right direction. It still has a lot of challenges, especially going into the election year in 2024 for the current sitting president. So these are some things as part of his legacy in terms of making sure that Botswana has these things in place. But just on a personal level, again, making us feel comfortable, Your Excellency, with AI and upcoming things with that. We thank you for giving us that insight. And I'm sure as we go forward into 2024, we'll have more classes and more information on this. I'll definitely have some in terms of security and where that is. We'll touch bases on a class with that, you and I off and prepare it and get it to where it needs to be. Other than that, I just want to say to everybody here that I love you very much. There's nothing you can do about it. As you see, I'm gearing up. It's the holiday season, so I'm about to go out and do my thing, play super black man again, so to speak, and put myself in harm's way so that the rest of us can sleep well and have a nice festive season. So again, happy holidays, everybody. I'll say Merry Christmas because don't forget we'll see each other again next Saturday, just before New Year's, and I'm almost sure that our mentor, our friend, and our confident here, His Excellency, will have something special planned for New Year's. So I'm
That's Doreen, Your Excellency, Ambassador Doreen Burunji. She's the
she's
has something special. Just call when you're offline.
so yeah. So as we going forward on that, I will tell her though. I've heard your struggle in terms of what you're up against there in Uganda. Not only with your company, as I mentioned, my business partners are traveling, but as soon as they return, I definitely want to have a virtual meet with you. They are good with IT, with marketing, websites, and social media presence. And in fact, they're helping me to get my thing together in terms of having just a team to keep up with your social media and make sure that's in place. So I want to be able to lift that burden off your shoulder, sister. So that'll be a part of it that you don't have to deal with, especially now since we're in the same industry with the tourism going forward. So yeah, I hadn't forgot you. Definitely want to tag team with you and do that cross border partnership there and help you grow. If you grow, we all grow.
Oh, you got it.
If you grow, we all grow.
We
Thank you.
already grow.
Thank everybody for being a blessing to the class of Steele youth. And I look forward to an amazing 2024. Sister Jael down in South Africa, my neighbor just south of me. I hate I didn't get a chance to come down there immediately. I think the last time I was there was in August, if I'm not mistaken, for a martial art event. But I will be back soon. I'm going to Cape Town in March with my team, March 2nd and 3rd. So I think that's kind of sort of in your neck of the woods. So if I don't see you before then, I'll definitely see you in March. In March, I'll give you the details on that as we get closer to the date. Other than that, Dr. Steele, back to you.
Grandmaster, I just want to say that I am blessed. It was for a short moment, but I'm blessed to fly from one end of the continent all the way to the other end of the continent in South Africa. And I had the privilege of meeting up and even a photo opportunity with Jael in South Africa. So you are right by the neighboring state, right on the same continent, a drive across, and I flew for 11 hours from London all the way to the other side of the planet just to make sure I see Jael. So Jael, I feel very pleased. And I had to say that because when you guys were talking about China, I noticed you being China, Dory being China, Rufus being China, Elizabeth is China, and poor me, I haven't gotten to China yet. Chinese martial arts, I could say ni hao and ni hao ma and ni tenjie and tenjien, all of those few words that I know in Chinese, but I've not gotten to put my foot on China. And let's make sure that in 2024, I will put my feet on China's Great Wall. Sure.
Yeah.
We're gonna make sure Ambassador Doreen gets us there.
Doreen,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So Doreen, we must and then we can publicly say that next year, all things being equal, if there is no war and chaos that is ensued, because there is war all the time, but if chaos does not ensue to a diverse to an area where we're hindered, next year China is on the radar for a trip. We did Dubai already, and I think that China is definitely one that we can all decide to sink our teeth into to have a great time there. So Doreen, please have that on your radar. All right. Well, with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are watching on our YouTube channel, our Facebook, our LinkedIn, social media, I want to say a special thank you, or we want to say a special thank you for being with us on this journey in the class of Steele. Of course, we are looking at empowering those that are in the African continent and to make sure that they get the best information, the best support, and the best logistics to help them navigate this difficult world that we're faced with, but not just difficult, but very changing world, of course. Equally, we want to encourage those of you who are professionals in your own right and you're interested in giving back. There is no charge to these youngsters who are in the class of Steele. There is no charge. So therefore, if you're interested in giving back of your time to those who are in the class of Steele, you're really pleased to have you to share your expertise with us and equally put together a class in 2024 that you can present to them and give them relevant knowledge that can help them again along this journey. I'm His Excellency Dr. Michael Steele on the behalf of the Class of Steele team and First Lady Jean Steele, the wife, who is away currently on medicals. I would like to thank you for being with us. I wish you and your family a wonderful, wonderful season in 2023. And now 2024 is upon us. If you're able to join us on Saturday for our final class of the year, it will be an absolute blessing and a privilege to have you with us. Again, thank you so very much. Good night, everybody, and God bless. Again, congratulations to Ruth, Dr. Ruth Gordon, and also Dr. Elizabeth. Oh my goodness, I forgot Elizabeth's surname. Ruth, what's Dr. Elizabeth's surname, please?
Yongia Ingalim.
Say that again, please.
Yongia Ingalim.
Yongia Ingalim.
Ingalim.
You can type it?
Yes.
Type it in the message.
Yes. Okay.
I wasn't prepared to say it again.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, young.
Yeah. So
Galim. Okay.
Congratulations to you guys. Go out there and make Africa great, and the continent, of course, greater, and you and the rest of the world. Thank you so very much. And remember, you can, you will, and you're going to be awesome. Just stick to it. God bless you. Bye for now, guys.
God bless you, Your Excellency. Bye-bye. And
Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas to you as well.
Merry Christmas
to everyone.
Bye, everybody. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you as well.
Merry Christmas to everyone. Thank you for coming. We look forward to seeing you towards the end of the year. Yeah. So good night.
Doreen, I'm going to call you afterwards, Doreen. I'll give you a quick call and I'll finish because Doreen, Saturday is you and Grandmaster. Yay! yeah, Grandmaster. Ruth don't smoke. Saturday is going to be you and Grandmaster. So, bye, guys. We're signing off.